Right here? Okay.
And slate.
I've been feeling good. Woke up like I should. My party has a need.
All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to my podcast. My name is Jocelyn, and we are here from Boystown. And today we have the wonderful Chris that works at the Boystown National Hotline. Very excited to be here with her today. Chris, I have so many questions for you.
Good. I'm glad to be here.
Cool.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Let's get started. Chris, what is it that you do at the Boystown National Hotline?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. It's always fun to be able to talk to you. I'm a manager at the Boystown National Hotline.
Okay.
Right now, one of my main responsibilities is Your Life, Your Voice, our website for teens. But I'm also responsible for training and quality assurance at our hotline.
Okay. Wonderful. And how long have you worked there for?
I've been at Boystown a very long time. I've been at the hotline for over 25 years, and prior to that, I was at Boystown for another 10 years. So
Right.
My whole adult life has been spent at Boystown.
Yeah, that's a really long time.
That's a really long time.
That's dedication.
Yes, it is.
That is building building resilience and what would I want to say, stamina? I don't
Right.
know.
Well,
The best thing to say.
When you believe in the mission and what you're doing,
Right.
I feel privileged to have been able to work at Boystown for as long as I have. So
Absolutely. And you see so many young boys and girls come and go, and you get to experience just their development.
right.
That's so amazing.
Right. And I've learned a lot working at Boystown. I've grown. And I hope that I've created some positive things along the way while I've been here. So
Absolutely. That's wonderful. All right. So tell me a
Real
bit.
quick, Jocelyn.
Yep.
Just back off the microphone just
Yeah,
a little
I
bit.
keep
right?
forgetting I'm such a singer.
Yeah.
I just want to sing to the mic.
Yeah, I know that's where it's coming from.
Oh my. All right. So tell me a bit about the Boystown National Hotline.
all right. Well, the hotline has been in existence for 33 years now.
Okay.
In that time, we've taken over 10.5 million different kinds of contacts from people across the
Wow.
country. We take calls from all 50 states, Guam, Virgin Islands, and Puerto Rico, and Canada. There's great advertising and promotion of our hotline all over the place. So
Wow.
we're grateful that over the 33 years, we continue to be a national hotline that people reach out to.
That's so amazing.
So then we also have a teen website,
Okay.
which has been in existence for 13 years. And it's called yourlifeyourvoice.org.
Right.
The reason we initially started it was just because probably 15 years ago or so, we could tell that kids weren't calling the hotline as much anymore. Our numbers had dropped. Well, 15 years ago, kids started using cell phones. Exactly.
Can't stay away.
Well, and
We're addicted.
in today's world, your cell phone rings and people kind of start to panic because
Right.
it's like, oh, I don't talk on the phone. I'm used to
Yeah.
texting. So we knew we had to make some changes. So kids would reach out to us, and our website was just a perfect way for kids to be able to do that. So,
Yeah.
And there's just a lot of really good content on the website too.
Yeah.
Just, we know that not everybody wants to reach out and call the hotline or
Right.
text. They're not quite ready for that. But if they go on the website and they take a look around, we've got a lot of good information.
Right.
So we post some emails that kids send in. I think that helps kids just feel like, oh, I'm not the only one with this particular issue.
Right.
Then we have a lot of just very short little blogs or tips and a lot of different journal pages to help kids kind of work through what they're doing, what's going on in their life. So
Now with the journal pages, what does that consist of? Like, what do you have them do? Just
there are a variety of different things.
Okay.
Anything from like how to deal with grief or
Mhm.
anxiety, creating safety plans for
Mhm.
kids who are having thoughts of suicide. So we really do try and just have a variety of things. All the different topics we have, there's I think 27 different topics. Each topic has different worksheets that go along with it, or journal
Wonderful.
pages.
That's good. I think writing is such a great way to listen to yourself and look at your thoughts and what it is that you are trying to work out in your brain. And I feel like that helps solve many of your problems.
It really does.
Going on.
Honestly, there's so many times when we talk to kids and they feel so overwhelmed with everything going on in their life. Kids and adults both.
Yeah.
They feel so overwhelmed, and it's kind of like once they can get it out, and sometimes it is just getting it on paper.
Yeah.
It gets it out of your head and down on something else, and then you can walk away from it for a little bit.
You can look it over, be like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
all right,
exactly.
see you later.
Exactly.
See you next time.
Exactly. And I think back years ago, because I used to work directly with kids in the homes here on campus, and I always felt like Boystown had a lot of great publications for adults
Yeah.
to help kids, but we didn't really have a lot of information directly for kids. So I really feel like this was our way of being able to do that, talk directly to kids and empower them.
Yeah, absolutely. I wonder, like, I guess, would you know why some adults don't want to reach out? I feel like that's so important, especially nowadays, just with everything going on. You want to look to the adult for advice and for help. And I feel and like friends right now, young moms and young parents that I come across every single day, or people that are about to have kids, I just like want to tell them like, hey, you should like, check out some parenting classes, or, Boystown has a really great informational website that you can go check out. But I'm afraid to tell it to them because I don't want to tell them how to, like how they should live their life. But I also just want to give out knowledge, but do it in a nice way.
And that's the nicest thing to do, is to give people those resources, and then they can choose what to do. Because you can't solve every problem. Our counselors can't solve every problem that's out there either. So,
right.
And honestly, our website, Your Life, Your Voice, is meant for kids, but a lot of adults can use the same principles.
Yeah.
And our counselors can walk through some of those principles as they're helping kids deal with their problems too. So
that's amazing.
Yeah. We're very proud of it.
I love that. I think we already mentioned this. You guys have saved 9,000 lives.
Yes.
In 33 years.
Yes. That's a number that I'm not sure is completely accurate. I think we've probably saved a few more than that.
Okay. That's just a roundup number.
Yes. Well, and honestly, how many things are going on behind the scenes when people contact us? We don't know if they're suicidal. They may not share that with us.
Right.
But hopefully the help that we gave them helps put them on track to not go through with ending their life. So not everybody admits to it on the phone. We try and ask and assess where they're at with things, but they're not always completely honest.
Yeah.
So I'd like to think it was more than 9,000 people.
Well, I know that I've used the hotline myself a few times, and I know friends that have used it as well. So, I mean, it's very useful, I will say.
That's good to know.
For personal use.
That's good to know.
So what does the hotline do?
I would say one of the biggest things that our counselors do at the hotline is listen.
Okay.
So many times when people reach out to us, they're just so overwhelmed with everything that's going on, that just having somebody who's anonymous listen to their story helps them feel better. I often use the analogy of a cup. If every time something goes wrong in your life, you pour more liquid into the cup's eventually going to overflow.
Right.
So teaching people to be able to identify support systems, have healthy coping skills, helps them to pour some liquid out of that cup.
Okay.
So, and that's kind of what our counselors do. We know that the number one thing that people want when they call a hotline is to be able to share their story.
Yeah.
And that's the most important part. A lot of times, if they can share their story, it takes away a lot of the stress and they start to feel better.
Yeah. It breaks my heart when people are afraid to share their story, because like I said earlier, like it's so good. Not only is it good to write down on paper, but just to hear yourself talk. It's been so frowned upon. People are like, oh, that person just likes to hear themselves talk. Well, maybe they do, but maybe they actually need it.
Right.
They need to, word vomit, or they need to think out loud. And I think that needs to stop being demonized,
Right. Well, and you as an artist, like how often do you put your feelings and thoughts into words when you're creating songs?
Right. Absolutely.
There's so many outlets that people can do, but it is just a matter of getting it out of their head and somewhere else.
When I was in high school, I had a friend, and she would come to me. Well, she stopped coming to me after a while because what would happen is she would tell me what was going on in her life, and then I'd try to solve it for her. And then she would just like say to me, I don't need you to solve it for me. I just need you to listen to me. And I never understood. I mean, as many times as she would say it to me, I never processed it. And then it was later when I got into a relationship where I really loved this person, and they were like, all right, you need to not.
Right. You just need to
you
listen.
need to not saw. I just need you to listen.
Well, and even we
got
talk to
it.
parents about that too. When your kids come to you and they're sharing a story, don't feel like you have to fix it every time.
Right.
Talk it through. Talk about what some different options are. Because the easiest thing to do is to fix it. But
Yeah.
we're not that person. That person knows what they want and need to do.
Right.
So we can provide some suggestions, but a lot of times it's just sitting back and listening.
Right. Because not only like are you listening, but you're also walking them through unfolding what it is they're going through, kind of like writing on paper again and then looking it over. But this time they're hearing it and they're like, oh, this is what I'm saying. It's good to process out loud.
Right. And rather than fix, sometimes maybe it's better to summarize or restate back what the person's saying to you.
Right.
It shows you're listening, and it kind of helps them hear what their thoughts sound like. So
That's
yeah.
awesome.
Yep.
I love that.
Yep.
I love every bit.
Yeah,
of it.
our counselors don't try and fix people's problem because
Right.
we can't assume that we know from a phone call what's going on in their life. So we listen, and then we help point them toward support systems, good coping skills. What can they do to empower themselves to be able to work through their problems?
Absolutely. I always find like skateboarding or singing or even like working out as something
Right.
as my healthy coping.
Yep.
I used to smoke cigarettes. That was bad.
Right, don't
that
do
was
that.
very bad.
Well, it's kind of
Oh,
funny because
no.
there's studies out there that show even just like going outside for 15 minutes,
Okay,
sunshine and fresh air can help somebody kind of reset.
Yeah.
I always think back, my mom would tell me to go play outside, probably because she was tired of me making messes in the house or whatever as a kid. But honestly, it helps with your mental health
Yeah.
to be able to go outside
Absolutely.
and breathe in some fresh air.
Having the sun kiss your face is like
Uh-huh.
the best thing ever. Best medicine.
Right. And the other thing too is sometimes when people start to feel like they're down in a hole, like they're really depressed and they're isolating themselves, sometimes it's just helpful to get out and be around people.
Yeah.
We always talk about how stimulating your senses helps.
Mm.
So a study was done with people who had had thoughts of suicide, and they identified things that helped them when they were feeling really down. And it was being out in social settings, and one of them was going to a coffee shop. And when you think about a coffee shop and you think about how your senses are stimulated, the sound, the smell, the taste, it
Right.
starts to pull you out of that hole that you're in.
Right.
So to me, that's just a great example of there are some things that you can do to make yourself feel better.
Right.
So
Good. I wanted to talk a little bit more about that hole because I've always wondered like where is it that people are going to want to move on or move further with the suicide, and I have come to the conclusion that some people really just don't see any way out.
they don't have any
They
hope.
have no hope. They don't see the light at the end of the tunnel, and there are just all these chemicals being released from the brain that is making them further the action into committing that. And so I just it scares me, but at the same time it's like, okay, how can we tie a rope around them and pull them out?
Right. Well, and I think one of the things that we talk about at the hotline especially is creating a safety plan.
Yeah.
So, and you don't do it when you're in the throes of depression or anxiety or, something terrible is going on in your life. You kind of set a framework for yourself that you can rely on when you feel that way. So you have to know what your triggers are.
Yeah.
What causes me to get down in that hole? What are some distractions or coping skills that I can use?
Yeah.
Who are some supportive people? Are there professionals out there that I need to turn to?
Mm-hmm.
How can I keep my environment safe?
Right.
Is another piece too. Because if you are somebody who has thoughts of suicide and you're thinking about cutting on yourself, well,
Mhm.
don't have that stuff readily available.
Right.
If you're in a home where somebody's got some mental health issues and they're having thoughts of suicide, don't have a gun where it's loaded and
Yeah.
easily accessible.
Yeah.
Lock things up, put them someplace else for a while. If we can distance people from thought to action,
Yeah.
we can actually prevent a lot of suicides.
Yeah.
just because that whole, you don't want people to do it impulsively.
Do you have a safety plan? I know I got a safety plan.
I have many different activities that I do to make myself feel better.
Okay, good.
And the other thing too is, what are your reasons for living?
Right.
And
Purpose.
Yes.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And we've got a whole safety planning form on Your Life, Your Voice that people
Right.
can fill out, and you do it at a time. Maybe you don't do it all at once.
Right.
You revisit it. But when you're really feeling down, grab that safety plan and go look at it and say, okay, who are the people I identified that I can talk to?
Yeah,
Or what are the little things that I can do to help myself feel better?
absolutely.
So now I don't want to discount. There's a lot of people who have thoughts of suicide and need professional help. They may
Right.
need medication, but sometimes it's that that moment where you just need some help getting out of that hole.
Right. Wow. I like to, I'm going to tell you just right now what my safety plan is.
All right.
Maybe for the viewers out there, they can maybe, get on to this. But
I bet I can guess one.
all right, guess.
I bet you like to sing
Okay, yes.
and write music.
Love to sing, love to write.
There you go.
But there's one main one that keeps me, I'll say, stable.
Okay.
And that is my planner.
Hello.
It's
Yes.
time management and then creating a schedule that I can always go to.
I am completely with you on that. How
Yeah.
much better do you feel if you're overwhelmed with everything that you have going on and you make a list of the things you have to do?
Right? It's that writing down your thoughts again.
It gets it out of your head
Yeah.
onto paper, and then when you
And then
can
you can go look at it.
check mark,
Yeah.
feel so much better.
Yeah. You're like, oh, I did this thing. Oh, I did this
Yeah.
thing. Wow, I'm so productive.
I know. And if you have colored pens,
Now
it
that
makes it
is
even better.
Okay, now that's a whole nother level.
Yeah, that's me.
Okay, do you have like the same color and then like different shades of that color? Do you do that?
No, but
Okay.
I
know someone that does it,
I'm not that
and it
bad.
looks amazing, and I'm
Yeah.
like, I want to be on that level.
Yeah, no, I'm not that bad. But I do. I like colored pen. Yeah. Open any drawer in
That's
my
good.
house and you'll find all sorts of
That's good. I got some gel pens.
Yeah.
I have thought about using them a few times, but then it's just like the switching of pens.
Yeah,
do
then
I really want
yeah.
to do that?
And if that creates
not.
more stress, don't do it.
Exactly. So just keep it pencil, simple.
There you
All
go.
right. And if I need to put like a star or like a circle or a square,
There you
then
go.
I will do that instead.
But that's a great coping skill for
It
people
is.
who get stressed and overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it's just rattling around in your head.
Yeah.
And yeah.
No, absolutely.
not
And then
helpful.
that in itself can help you find your goals and your purpose in life.
Exactly.
So that always makes me feel so good.
Yep.
I could go on
See,
about
we're
that.
like-minded with that.
This one's a good one.
Okay.
So what do people reach out to you the most about?
Sadly enough, the number one reason people contact the hotline is about suicide.
Okay.
Years ago, I would say that was probably less than 10% of our calls.
Mm.
And now it's probably about 25%. So suicide's the top. Mental health issues, specifically depression and anxiety,
Right.
and then relationship issues.
Do you think that has jumped because of social media?
My personal opinion is that social media doesn't help.
No,
Let's put it that way.
doesn't.
It really doesn't.
It doesn't help.
It's so much of people comparing themselves to others, and I
Right.
just don't think that's a good place for a lot of people to be.
Right.
Even when you're confident and comfortable in yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was feeling, I won't say what happened to a full extent, but I was feeling so good the other, like a couple weeks, I think it was in the last week, but it was the week prior to that. And I'm like, I'm on my game right now. I'm feeling good, feeling fly. I made a post that I thought personally was super positive, but I posted it not even thinking that it was controversial. And then bam, everybody's like, what? Like,
I know.
why are you associating yourself with this person? I'm like, I'm just having a good day.
Well, and
like,
you see,
dang, y'all.
and you feel good about your life.
Right.
But think about people who don't feel good about their life,
Right.
and they post something and get that kind of reaction. And
Right.
kids
Oh.
can take that so internally.
Yeah, I mean, it honestly, I feel like I let it get me down because I could have put up a barrier, a safety net for myself, and I didn't, and I let it eat at me.
Right.
And I'm like, why do I need to be doing this? I know what I need to be focused on right now, but instead I'm engaging with this, and I just need to back off.
Right.
But that honestly took a toll on my mental. I didn't let it get too far, but just that me trying to be positive online
didn't work.
Yeah. Didn't work at all.
Well, and I think
you can't be anything.
there
on
is that bit of everybody's looking to criticize other people right now.
Yeah.
It's a bad cycle.
I think the only time when people, I mean, from what my own personal experience, I see people post, struggles that they're going through, and then people applaud them for doing good. Like that is always, like I always see a lot of my friends from high school posting about how sober they are, and I'm like, yes, like that should be applauded.
Right.
That's a wonderful thing. And then I see other people being like, I'm having a bad day, and then people comment like, hey, like here's a photo of cats, or
right.
something, to pick them up. But when someone's happy already, it's completely opposite.
Yeah, I know.
It's different.
Just put your phone away.
It's different out there. Okay. So can you tell us, without giving us too much information, about a phone call that you received from the hotline that changed your life forever?
I can't say one that changed my life forever. There have been many over the years that I've either taken or consulted on. But one that was so heartwarming and made me feel so good came about a year ago. It was right before Thanksgiving. And a young lady reached out to the hotline. She had called 5 years previously.
Okay.
And when she called 5 years previously, it was prior to the weekend. She had plans to kill herself that weekend.
Okay.
And she decided that at the last minute, what's it going to hurt? I'll just call the hotline and see what happens.
Right.
So she contacted the hotline, talked to a counselor named Anne. I can use her name because she's given permission for that.
Okay.
So she talked to Anne at the time. Anne ended up working with her and actually got on the phone with her mom and talked to the girl's mom. So fast forward 5 years, last year at Thanksgiving time, Isabel called us and asked how Anne spelled her name.
Mm-hmm.
Because she and her mom wanted to get matching tattoos with Anne's name.
That's beautiful.
And they did. And Isabel has actually a lighthouse and an Anne's name underneath it. And her whole thing is she just wants to remember that Anne was a beacon of light for her at that time, and it turned her life around.
That's awesome.
So then the really cool thing is that Isabel allowed us to share her story, and she was willing to we did a Zoom call with her, so she got to meet Anne, our counselor, over Zoom, and we're all standing in the room as part of it, crying. Yes, it was just like, okay, you never know how you're going to touch somebody's life. Right. And 5 years later to find out that whatever Anne said or did in that phone call made her change her mind was awesome.
Made all the difference.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
I love that.
I know. And we do. Actually, we get a lot of thank you notes from kids and adults. They'll call back and say thanks, or they'll email us and say thanks.
Yeah.
Again, sometimes they just need somebody to talk to in the moment.
Right.
So.
I mean, I will say you are doing the real work. You and in Boystown. They truly have something just so special, and I just can only be a person that can also help spread Boystown's message.
And we appreciate the work that you do with
absolutely.
us too.
And I mean, you're doing the hard work, and I appreciate it so much, and that's why I wanted to have you on here today. I've had great role models in my life that have helped change me and for the better, and I can only imagine what kids that are in worse circumstances than me that don't have that. And so you guys provide that for them, and that just makes me so happy, and I just want to be a part of that every step of the way. So if you are in need, or a friend is in need of just a simple conversation or some guidance, please go visit boystown.org or yourlifeyourvoice.org. You can also call 1-800-448-3000 or text voice to 20121. Please spread the word. Thank you so much. I'm your host, Jocelyn. Come back for another episode brought to you from Boystown. Thank you.
Good.
Awesome.
Should we do another one or no?
Good. And if there is anything else you want to add, are we good?
No, I'm good.
No.
All right.
I think we're good. I think we did it.
I could start yammering forever about what we do in the hotline, so I hope that was okay.
Yep.
I wasn't waiting for you to ask every question. I was trying to...
Oh, no, that was great.
Stuff in
No.
there. Okay.
Yeah, no, that was
That was
great.
good.
I think we had a great conversation already.
Yeah.
I love how you
of you and me. can see your house from